Greetings and salutations, and welcome to the Brahma Bulletin. Thank you all so much for watching. I greatly appreciate one and all. And now, this week's stories. This week we only have one major headline, and that's all about roster moves for the Brahmas. The first story, San Antonio Brahmas signed 4 players, cut 10. This article is written by James Larson. It was a busy weekend for the San Antonio Brahmas. On Friday, the team re-signed 4 players to the roster while waiving 10, making openings to bring in some new additions. Derek Kelly has been with the San Antonio Brahmas for 2 seasons now. Derek started in 3 games for the Brahmas in 2024, but an injury that put him on the IR list put an end to his season in Week 4. Kelly had a 60.5 offensive grade via PFF across those 3 games. Kavion Patton. Kavion Patton has been one of the top defensive tackles in spring football the past couple of years. As a Brahma, Patton posted 16 tackles and 1.5 sacks in 2024. Linebacker Robert Barnes. Robert had 19 tackles on the year, seeing action in 9 games. Chris Steele. Chris Steele is an interesting signing. Steele was selected by the Brahmas in the dispersal draft, but didn't show up to the UFL training camp and was not with the team at all this season. Releases. The San Antonio Brahmas cut 10 players, with a couple of names on this list being a surprise. Running back Morgan Ellison. This release is one that certainly is confusing. He rushed for 206 yards and 3 touchdowns, averaging 4.4 yards per carry. Running back Pookie Williams Jr. He didn't see the field much offensively, but was utilized as a kick returner for a few weeks. Wide receiver Calvin Turner. Turner was released in training camp, but returned later in the year. He had 3 catches for 36 yards in 2024. Wide receiver Cade Warner. Cade did not record any receptions with the Brahmas this season. Wide receiver K.D. Cannon. He had 1 catch for 32 yards in the regular season and posted 2 receptions for 26 yards in the championship game against Birmingham. Wide receiver Tavion Salter. The least surprising of these offensive cuts is Tavion Salter, who did not play with San Antonio at all. Defensive tackle Trayvon Coley. Coley is another player who was added to the roster late in the season due to injuries. He only saw the field for several snaps during the championship game, totaling 1 tackle against Birmingham. Linebacker Kelechi Anulabichi. And once again, I apologize if I slaughtered that name. Anulabichi only saw the field on defense in 4 games with just 10 total snaps. Defensive back Quincy Wilson. Quincy Wilson was a big off-season addition for this defense, but unfortunately wasn't able to see the field at all due to injury. Defensive back Teez Tabor. He was a starter for San Antonio to begin the year, then got released and was brought back in Week 6. He was also responsible for the game-winning interception against the Stallions in Week 9. Tabor finished the year with 27 tackles, 2 interceptions, and 3 pass breakups. Final thoughts. With 10 players having been released, there is a chance we'll see more cuts from the Brahmas in the near future. The next story, San Antonio Brahmas add another 8 players for 2025. This article is also written by James Larson. It's been a busy couple of weeks for the San Antonio Brahmas. They've made several cuts while re-signing dozens and also adding a couple of new faces to the roster. In their latest set of transactions, San Antonio signed 8 players to letters of intent for 2025. Wide receiver Matthew Sexton. Sexton landed in the XFL playing with the Vegas Vipers in 2023. That season, he totaled 364 receiving yards, which led to 3 different stops in the NFL with the Patriots, Falcons, and Dolphins, all on the practice squad. Wide receiver Justin Smith. He spent the 2023 XFL season in Houston performing well. In the UFL this season, Smith posted 264 yards and a touchdown. In addition, he had a big performance in the semifinals against St. Louis, helping lift the Brahmas to the championship game. Center Alex Philistrom. Alex Philistrom was an offensive addition for the San Antonio Brahmas, who was with the team for part of the season. He didn't play any snaps in 2024, but returns to the roster to run it back in 2025. Alex spent time with the New Orleans Saints in 2023, after a lengthy college career at Illinois. Defensive tackle Brian Monet. Monet has plenty of NFL experience playing with Seattle Seahawks for a couple years. Across that span, he totaled 73 tackles and 2 sacks. Of the 41 games played in the NFL, Monet made 8 starts. He was released by Seattle in March of this year and now will look to continue his pro career in the UFL with San Antonio. Linebacker Tavante Beckett. He began his career with the Houston Roughnecks, registering 63 tackles and 2 interceptions. Beckett was brought over to San Antonio with Wade Phillips in the USFL-XFL merger. He started in every game this season for the Brahmas, posting 74 tackles, 9 tackles for losses, and 1.5 sacks. This resulted in Tavante earning all UFL honors in 2024. Defensive back Bo Pete Keys. Keys posted 14 tackles and a pass breakup with San Antonio in 2024. Defensive back Corey Mayfield Jr. He started in 6 of 12 games played for the Brahmas in 2024, totaling 25 tackles and 5 pass breakups. Mayfield also boasted a strong 70.3 defensive grade via PFF. Defensive back Derek Langford. Langford played in 2 games with the Brahmas, posting 6 tackles across that span. He was targeted 9 times in 2 matches, allowing just 4 receptions. According to PFF, Langford had an above-average coverage grade of 71.7 in the UFL this year. Final thoughts. General Manager Mark Littlebrige continues to make moves, securing pieces for 2025. The Brahmas are bringing back most of the same faces from 2024 while making a few adjustments here and there to strengthen specific position groups. The next story. 2 UFL players land on NFL 53-man rosters, many more on practice squads. This article is by Greg Parks. 2 UFL players made initial NFL 53-man rosters that were announced on Tuesday. Another 18 UFL players were signed to NFL practice squads on Wednesday. They are long snapper Rex Sanahara. He signed with the Cleveland Browns. Running back Anthony McFarland Jr., the Miami Dolphins. Offensive tackle Julian Davenport with the Atlanta Falcons. Guard Cole Levayo, New York Jets. 3 UFL players are also on NFL injured reserves, meaning they are out for the season and will remain on IR unless they are released with an injury settlement. Linebacker Wyatt Ray with the Miami Dolphins. Both active rosters and practice squads are fluid throughout the season. UFL players will continue to bounce on and off those rosters as the year progresses. The next story, Brahmas add Nate Weiland, Caleb Ordemet, Darius Phillips. Now, this article is by James Larson. The San Antonio Brahmas made a few additions yesterday. They re-signed Nate Weiland and Darius Phillips while bringing in Caleb Ordemet to strengthen the secondary. Linebacker Nate Weiland. Nate Weiland has spent the last 2 seasons with Wade Phillips in spring football. He was with the Houston Roughnecks in 2023, playing in 2 games, totaling 4 tackles. Weiland made the jump to the San Antonio Brahmas in 2024 and was poised to be an important depth piece on special teams and defensively. Unfortunately, he suffered a season-ending injury in Week 1 against DC. Defensive back Darius Phillips. In 2024, Darius posted 19 tackles, an interception, 5 pass breakups, and 2 forced fumbles, all in 7 games. According to PFF, Phillips posted an outstanding 91.6 defensive grade. Defensive back Caleb Ordemet. Caleb Ordemet, who signs with San Antonio just days after being released by the New Orleans Saints. Caleb had a tackle and a pass breakup with the New Orleans Saints this preseason in 1 game of action. Final thoughts. Not surprisingly, General Manager Mark Littlebrige continues to craft this defense into one of the best in the UFL. The Brahmas boast an outstanding defensive unit in 2024, and it's only poised to see improvements this upcoming season. And that's it. That's it for the video. I hope you found it informative and entertaining. If you did, please let me know by hitting that like button. And if you haven't done so already, please consider subscribing to this channel to keep up to date on all things San Antonio Brahma. Well, I think it's time for this Brahma to be put out to pasture, at least until the next episode. Until then, San Antonio, horns forward.